Hello, everyone, and welcome to the opening of Breath of the Wild, except it's Pokemon Legends Arceus.
I swear this is the same thing I see when I wake up.
I mean, it's not the only thing that the game took from Breath of the Wild, but
You know those first few seconds when you wake up and you don't have any memory of anything and you're just in total bliss, and then suddenly it just rushes into you. It's like,
and then
fuck.
they take you back in time a couple hundred years, and then you're forced to take care of an entire village that's a bunch of ungrateful assholes. I mean, what?
I have no idea what you're talking
It's
about.
mostly just one ungrateful asshole, but
No,
this
no,
is
the
this is the
whole
protagonist
town.
from this is the protagonist from Gen 4, so keeping in can with our playthrough that we did ages ago. So
Okay, so like this, I knew virtually nothing about Legends Arceus around the time that I started playing. I mean, not when I tried to live stream a playthrough, but when I actually started it to make sure the darn game ran. But like, it's an isekai, and I'm just like, wait, what? Really?
it's more time travel than Isekai, but yes,
You're brought into
it's time travel and Isekai.
Look,
Yes.
look.
Yes, I would argue.
That is the plot of Inuyasha. Inuyasha was one of the earliest isekais before we actually.
So this I didn't know about the game. I'm speaking as someone who still has not played this game for myself. I didn't know that this game was an isekai. Like it is a modern protagonist, like taken back in time because of Arceus here. I'm assuming because
God
something,
wanted us to do something for
dangerous.
some reason.
Yeah, I was gonna say something dangerous looms, and I guess like we're the chosen one to help or some other shit.
Find literally anybody better than this random 15-year-old.
Listen, I know, like I'm God, but I just can't be fucking bothered.
You want to know what I want to do if I want to round up an entire quarry of dangerous animals? I'm going to get the random sophomore from the local high school.
To be fair, it's Pokemon. Like, it's the world of Pokemon, and 10-year-olds do all kinds of crazy shit anyway.
In this game,
15? Oh my god! Fuck, new territory.
yeah, I know it's our oldest protagonist yet.
Feels like it's been a century and a half since the last time they did that.
It's not since
Yeah, because
really.
wait, how old were the protagonists in Gen 5? They were third. Okay, it doesn't matter. They're still fucking children.
I know, but there's a big difference between high schooler and 10-year-old.
Like, I think, yeah, well, it's like Pokemon Coliseum's character. I already blanked on the name. I think was supposed to be like 17, 18 or some other shit. I don't know. They rode a Mad Max bike, so I figure you have to be an adult to ride that.
Not if you're an edgy, cool teen.
You're right about that, right?
Okay, so this is I think these characters, the protagonists of Legends Arceus, are actually not the same people as the Gen 4 protagonist, even though they're identical twins.
They look so similar. Yeah, it's like they look so similar.
They have similar terrible taste in headwear too.
It's like you have some watcher like slowly taking out their hair clips. Like, fuck you. It looks cool to me.
You know what's great? It's that, like, even though the Gen 4 remakes like made the conscious decision to not be platinum version, the costume design on the protagonist for Legends Arceus is clearly meant to like call back to the winter gear that the fucking platinum designs use. You know, the only objectively bad thing about that game. Why?
Well, because you had different clothes on by default because of the climate.
Yes, in platinum, everyone was dressed up for the fucking winter for some reason.
Yeah. Well, because Sinnoh was high up on the mountains and it's snowing everywhere.
Those outfits are ugly. Okay, it's like I want to play.
Well, what if I like them?
Platinum because every other aspect of the game is well. Then they should have done what the actual remakes did. It's the one thing that the remakes do better than platinum is let you choose your goddamn outfit. You can have the diamond and pearl outfit. You can have the platinum outfit. It's good. You know?
So the beginning of this game is fairly slow because they have like a very, very short tutorial, and then they actually like put you into the gameplay after a bunch of story stuff. With that said, I love how they've tried to make
Why does our
the
cell phone have a halo?
because it's angelic. I don't fucking know.
Because otherwise you never find it.
Yeah. I love that this game finally made some changes to the Pokemon formula. Like, I feel like, especially with Sword and Shield, which I'm gonna avoid trying to talk about too much because I just don't want to be spewing angry words all over the place.
We're in this in the long run. I think it's going to happen inevitably anyway.
Yeah, but like, well, give the short version, Sword and Shield sucks. So the fact that this game is trying to do something different, really was a nice breath of fresh air.
You know, even as someone who likes Sword and Shield well enough, I'll agree with that because, you know, I enjoy Sword and Shield. I enjoy finally having a full-featured Pokemon game made for consoles, or at least, you know, released on consoles and...
Or at least for the console at heart.
Yes. But like it's kind of bland in terms of game design, and the story isn't doing it any favors because it's just one underutilized concept after another.
It's also, well, here's the thing. This game actually feels like a console game versus feeling like one of the 3DS games, but maybe having like one terrible open world spot. The other thing that I really like about this game too is that they finally make the general gameplay loop of Pokemon something a little bit different, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
They don't feel like they need to basically like just do the same thing again. They take a risk, which is something that I appreciate because, I mean, granted, they do basically just decide that Risk is going to be copy Nintendo's other most successful RPG of the past 5 years, but we're gonna shush about that part for just a second.
I'm not gonna harp on them too much for the similarities to Breath of the Wild, because most of what Breath of the Wild did, you know, apart from like the physics-based magnet tool and stuff like that, but most of what the Breath of the Wild did is just concepts cribbed from other open world games. So it's not exactly unique. It's just a really well-made combination of parts.
But they're not Zelda, so it doesn't count.
It's just so I just want to stress off from the start that I do think that this game is a lot of fun, and I think it's the best Pokemon game to come out pretty much since Black and White 2. I mean, I'm a Sun and Moon apologist, so I will say that I like a vanilla Sun and Moon probably about as much.
I'm basically on your end, Ted, where I think it's the best game since Gen 5.
That's kind of weird for me. Like, I don't keep up with current Pokemon until like I get ready for a review on it. The last Pokemon game that was current that I played was Sun and Moon, but I really enjoyed that game, and I find it so strange that years later it's considered a sour point now. Like, people are treating it like X and Y.
People were complaining about it when it was fairly new.
People were complaining about about the Ruby and Sapphire fucking remakes too, and I don't understand that. They're beautiful remakes, but.
Yeah, but I mean, the answer is that Nintendo fans will complain about anything. But the thing is that this game, especially after Sword and Shield, was such a nice breath of fresh air, and I appreciated all the risks it took and everything. The problem is that because this game and Scarlet and Violet had to come out like within fucking 10 months of each other. It's 9 minutes. Okay, we can drop an F-bomb without YouTube taking our money away. Because this game had to come out within 10 fucking months of Scarlet and Violet, neither game could get the full attention of the Pokemon staff. It had to be split between the two, which means that neither game has the polish that they honestly both deserve. Because both games are really good. They're just rough as hell. And I
think this game holds up a little bit better than Scarlet and Violet, though.
I would agree, but that's a more nuanced discussion.
Well, it's
for
not
sure.
really all that nuanced to say that Legends Arceus feels more polished and complete. If you ignore the terrible aliasing, but
I
like,
mean, not that Scarlet and Violet has any right to say that they look better than. I mean, great. Neither game is graphically impressive. I think that's not going to be a controversial statement. But I would say Scarlet and Violet holds up slightly worse than Arceus.
well, with Legends Arceus, I think the art style kind of, like holds up the low resolution graphics. Everything looks like it's in this deliberately sort of anime painted style that complements the old timey vibe. And there's a deliberate color palette going on here where everything that's meant to match that style and give you a sense of that vibe. It looks like the actual like style of the line art is clearly anime. It's clearly Pokemon style, but the color and the style of the texture work puts you in mind of some of those Japanese style paintings. And it's especially apparent when you look at that skybox and you see like the outline of the mountain in the background, and it's like it's not in that painting style, but it harkens to it.
The comparison between the characters and the environments kind of reminds me of Skyward Sword a tiny bit, where the characters are very stylized, but the environments are slightly less stylized and more
So yeah, it's not quite Wind Waker, but it's not Twilight Princess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of got a similar art style going on, and I especially like the way the clouds are drawn, because they're not drawn quite like clouds. They are drawn to look more like that painting style I was talking about.
Yeah, as from a distance, like the environments look great as like a landscape. It's like when you get close to it, though, when you see the seams,
there's a lot of seams.
It looks pretty ugly. Yeah, and there's it's not so much as a lot of seams, that the seams are very obvious.
Textures are very muddy, yes, and sometimes the trees look awful. Although the trees in the town are considerably higher detail, and I wonder if that's just because it's a smaller map. The thing is, though, that when you take this game and run it on a Switch emulator and like double the resolution, everything looks slick and smooth and beautiful, and I love it.
I recognize that doofy hat. You're the XP for the male trainer.
That is a real hat, though.
Yes, I still think it's kind of silly looking.
It is definitely silly looking for sure.
Just jealous that you don't got a doofy hat.
Every so often, I see someone wearing that style of hat in the real world, and I'm just like, wow. People still see that as in style, do they? In some quarters?
What the fuck are you to judge?
Look, the only reason I wear a hat is to keep my hair out of my fucking face. I don't give a shit. You're not going to see me actually singing the praises of a baseball cap as a fashion statement.
Oh no, the Survey Corps.
It's not even a baseball cap. It's like one of those golfy.
Well, I'm talking about the one I'm wearing on my head right now.
Oh,
I need a haircut. I need a haircut. If I don't wear a hat, I'm blind. But like, okay, I like the expressiveness of the characters. It also makes it utterly clear that when a character like
so angry at me, what did I do?
So, I mean, again, this is just one of those. I'm saying again, because we had a failed take before this one, so one of my comments lost to time. One of the things about this game, and this is more so frustrating when you remember that Pokemon literally is a bigger franchise than Star Wars. The character animations are still like very robotic and puppet-like. Like you can see it here, like especially when you look at Silene right here. She stopped her standing and then moved robotically into her walking animation.
The thing is that they switch to animations, but there's no transition between them.
And when you compare that to other games, like I'm just gonna pick Dragon Quest XI because it's one I think off the top of my head. Like that game's not new. That game's pretty old, all things considered, and that game still looks better.
I should point out like, this is not an excuse for Pokemon Company. Pokemon Company absolutely has the money to devote manpower and time to better animations. They just choose not to because it's more profitable for them. But like, unless you're Square, most Japanese games do tend to lean on the side of stock animations and cutscenes. They just do not generally have as high a production value.
Are we talking just RPGs, or are you keeping it generalized?
I'm keeping it generalized. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, RPGs are the most visible, but
Because I would say RPGs are probably the most, the most
Like-
obvious example because of just the scope of the game.
But Japanese games tend to have a lower production value curve. I'm saying curve because there absolutely are a good number of high production value games that come out of Japan. But it's like comparing Japan's movie industry to America's. You know, Hollywood is just bigger and produces higher budget things more often. It's just how that shakes out, and it's kind of the same in the gaming industry, which is funny because Japanese games are arguably, you know, more reliably famous than Western ones.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where, again, I imagine a world where they had all hands on deck for Arceus and then had all hands on deck for Scarlet and Violet and gave each of them an extra year of development time with full manpower. And like, both of those games would have been awesome. Like,
Oh,
absolutely
yes.
fantastic. And we're just never gonna get them, games like that. Because we need to have a new game every 10 months and DLC every 5.
Look,
so.
I'm calling it now. So, like, sometime within the next year or two, Nintendo's gonna announce Pokemon. What's a good color combin? No, it's gonna be. I was about to say Pokemon Ultraviolet, but there's a fan mod already called that. God damn it.
Pokemon Salt and Pepper.
No, it's got to be something. It's got to be something related to Scarlet and Violet, because I'm talking about the magical third version that fixes everything.
Oh, right.
That's what the DLC is for nowadays.
Yeah, they didn't.
Yeah, I was
do,
gonna say I'm surprised people are
Pokemon
still. I'm surprised people still expect that to be a thing when it hasn't for
Scarlet
years.
and Violet are going to be fixed. You don't do that kind of full game overhaul that Scarlet and Violet need via DLC. It just doesn't work functionally. The DLC would have to be as big data size as the actual game. It would have to replace literally all of the data when you install it. God damn.
Yeah.
At the same time, though, like, but Pokemon hasn't done that in
The
years.
last
though.
game to
It's
get
like,
a
I saw-
third version
It
was
hasn't done that for a whole one generation, John.
Was it Gen 4?
Gen 4 was the last one to get a general third version. Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon were
Just a
kind of
complete
their
second
own-
game.
Yeah.
But like, you know, same principle. They just did it twice. But okay. You
Yeah,
get my
but here's
point,
the thing:
though.
the third version's supposed to be an upgrade. Oh,
You know what? It's going to be Pokemon Red Delicious, and you're going to go to whatever the Japanese word for apple is, Academy. That's what it's going to be. Are apples a
wait,
big
do
thing
they
in
name
Spain?
the
They
Academy
don't care.
something else in the different versions?
Okay, so Scarlet version has Naranja Academy, which is orange. And
I played
Violet
which had
has
the grapes.
Violet has the grapes, yes, and the color of your uniform is different. It's all.
Man, that's a mind blown. I just thought that it was a purple Academy.
Yeah, you see what you saw on screen. You might think that's part of the in-game plot, but that was what was going on inside Ted's brain as I explained it.
So what class is Obelisk Blue?
They're the never mind. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut for that one.
You strike me as a Slifer Red, Ted.
Obviously, they're the school fraternity that worships Gary Oak.
Oh, like a bronze bike next to his statue and looking at you displeased.